WarioWare should be illegal. I'm not even gonna start that conversation. Anyways, so how I would list this out is you're assuming you're playing these stages either in a good matchup or I'm also rating them in the sense of, so Battlefield's so good because it may not always be his best stage, but it's almost always a really good stage for him. And it's very rarely a bad stage, so I value that a lot, right? I would put FD around B tier. Well, depending on what like our lowest tier is. Not because I think FD isn't bad. I think FD's fine, but there's certain matchups you really don't want to be on FD, right? But there's a couple matchups you really want to be here. And then the rest is kind of whatever, right? I need to have this. I need to have my camera. There we go. Okay. So does that make sense? How we're rating this? Basically, we're rating it on how often it's a good stage for Marth, how strong in general it is for him in terms of things like platform layout, what things he can do on there, and how often it's a bad matchup for him. Okay. So I think Battlefield's a very good example of a very strong stage for him. I think Lylat. Well, I'm just gonna start with the craziest opinions. I think Lylat's probably gonna be his overall best stage now. Now that he can up B, there's basically no downsides to this stage for him. As I went over previously, platforms allow him to do all kinds of stupid shit. It's the one stage he can F smash pretty regularly on. At least on the side plats, the top plat he can very easily cover with up air or up tilt. Very strong stage. Pretty small, so his tippers get a lot from the spec to small stage. I really wouldn't go here versus like Pika, for example, or any characters that can really abuse the fact that the slants are there and the fact that you still can't really land. Like, the thing about Lylat is you get the benefits of platforms and people get stuck on them, but you don't have to worry about them being able to really land very easily on the platforms either. So you kind of get the best of both worlds in terms of being on the offensive. But for Marth, it sucks when you get hit and you're up there. And if characters can take advantage of that better than you, like Pika, you really don't want to go there. Battlefield's basically the same, and I really don't need to go into it too much, I don't think. But the thing is that I think Battlefield has more matchups where you don't get as much positives. I think it's more of a... It's good, but you have to remember that like Marth can do... Like, he can F-tilt you at 60, you can land on the side platform, and you pick up like any tech situation. You just get F-smashed and you die. Same thing happens on this stage, you get an F-tilt and it's an edge guard situation. Still good. Still really good. Not as good. Not as good. And then I think next is probably... Town and city. Does it go here or here? That's kind of the real question I'm having to myself. I think town goes A. Town goes in A. So the thing about town is I think it's the closest first stage to blast zone in terms of, so the edge is right here, the blast zone's like right here. They're really close, right? Compared to like FD, which would be like this. Okay. That means if you get someone on the ledge and you hit them with the tipper, they are just dead. They are just dead. DB kills Pichu at 0 at ledge on this stage. It is really dumb. The platforms sometimes being there or not being there really don't matter too much for him, because whether they're not there or they're there, Marth gets things from them. Note platforms means he has a more linear approach, which is both good and bad, because it means that your opponent also has a linear approach, and it means that he can juggle a lot stronger with no platforms. Platforms being there means he can land a bit easier. He can force really, really dumb situations on the side platforms. Yeah, but like Pichu's the main one. Like I think even with DI you die at 150 to DB, whereas like Puff I think you can live with DI. So it's strong. The only issue is, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Tippers, if you're killing from the side of the stage, or the opposite side of the stage, if you're coming from the opposite side of the stage to the other blast zone, you now have a much larger kill percent, right? It's much higher. So there's times you'll get an Air 1 F smash, but it'll be across town, and it was at 60. They're not dead, or they would have died on FD, right? So you have to kind of be aware of that, right? Your ledge trapping and edge guarding are extremely strong on this stage, but killing across the stage doesn't really happen as much. Next, I think is Smashville. It's probably the smallest stage here. No, Lylat's smaller. Never mind. But in terms of like stage size, it's very, very small. The platform's very big, which, depending on the matchup, either is really good or really bad for you. The platform pretty much perfectly lets you tip or up smash on it, which is nice, but that means you can't F tilt, which is huge. So enemies can come in and now you have to up tilt, which is a lot more committal of an anti-air, right? So I think that big platform kind of fucks Marth over a lot more than it helps. But in general, just the fact it's a small stage, up smash always tipper below the middle platform. No, it doesn't. No. Up tilt will always tipper though, I'm pretty sure. It's like just on that like side, or like just on that length of not quite. But Smashville pretty much lets Marth kind of take that role of, if you need to be aggressive in a matchup, Lylat or Smashville are extremely good because they're so small. There's just not a lot of room for players to run from you, right? So if you need to like run in, it's basically the same as PS2. Yeah, it's around the same height as PS2 platforms. Edge guarding's pretty simple on this stage. Pretty much everything else is the same for Smashville. It's just kind of like similar to Town and City because they both kind of. It's just, I think Smashville's worse because of the one big platform. No, I'm not. So here's the thing. So here's the thing. So they're all A ranks, all the PS2s, right? PS2 is the worst for Marth. So Unova's smaller, which means tippers kill better, and the stage overall is smaller, which means you don't have to worry much about killing from the other side. And PS1 has the best platform layout for Marth in terms of them being lower, and it's easier to see off stage, so you can edge guard a lot easier. PS2 is still good, the layout's still good. PS1, the fact that you can F-tilt the platforms is pretty much just the reason why I have it here. Unova, you can't F-tilt either, but you can up smash and it'll tipper. So it's you're getting something from these stages. Unova also smaller. I think the blast zones are the same for PS1, but the stage is a little bit smaller, something like that. But I think it'd go PS1, Unova, PS2. So if you're in granted, Unova's probably not going to be legal in a lot of rule sets. I think it could be, but I can understand why it's not. I can see a lot of stage lists now, including PS1 and PS2, is kind of how you would do Battlefield and Dreamland in 4. I can see that these two running, and if that's the case, so then just pretend this doesn't exist, which I'm just going to kind of put that down here. And I would just say, if you're fighting like Joker, ban it. You don't want, if you're fighting a character that wants that big long open space but also wants platforms, you do not want this stage. It is bad. You do not want it. But the thing is that on pretty much anything else, you'd want PS1 over PS2. Next is Yoshi's Story, which Mib is gonna fucking kill me when he sees this. But here's the thing. Okay, it doesn't matter as much for Lucina, but it matters for Marth. And I used to think the stage was really, really good for Marth until I thought about it. The fact that the platforms are so far on the side, and the fact that you can't F-smash ledge hang, basically means, like, ledge trapping does not exist on Yoshi's for Marth. You just can't do it. They can just jump, and you just don't get to do, like, you just can't punish it. Ledge trapping does not exist on this stage, and that makes him a lot less threatening. The ceiling being really high is not good for him because he doesn't really kill off the top, but a lot of characters can kill him off the top. It's still small, and it's still good for tippers, like if you're killing early, which is why it's not like his worst stage. The layout itself isn't a problem, other than the fact that it hurts his ledge trapping so much. He does get up smash on the slanted part of the side platforms, but it's still not enough for him, I think, to really make the stage too strong for him. There's not a lot of times where I'm like, yeah, I want to go to Yoshi's Story. I don't really want to ban it, but I kind of just don't really want to go on there, so it's kind of makes sense to go in B. FD. FD is his most polarizing stage, I would almost say. So I'm actually going to have it in B as well. FD has one good thing for it, or for him here. And it's the fact that if you are fighting a character that has bad disadvantage, which is most of this cast, and you can get in on them on FD, they cannot escape you. Here's the problem. Marth also has a bad disadvantage. If you lose a neutral, it is hell to get back in FD, right? So as an example, right? So I play against Fletcher a lot, and he is a very, very good Joker. I fight Tiny a lot, and he's also a very, very good Joker. I take them to FD all the fucking time, because I hit Joker once, and his only get out of disadvantage tool is gun. And you can't land on FD with gun. I can just run to the side really easily, right? You can't just land on top of me with gun as well as you can on other stages, because you can kind of chill with the platforms and then do it. Or you can kind of like hover over them and you're like, maybe I'm just land on the platform. No, I'm landing in the middle now, right? FD, you can't do that. It's so, and the thing is, neutral against Joker is limited because he can't run away to platforms. There's not enough space for him to really run around and do a lot of what he wants to do to force Marth to do things. So FD is an extremely good stage because it limits his neutral, and it limits him in disadvantage even more than he's already limited. Now, if they hit me and they get me in a throw combo or something, right? They do down throw, and then they, you know, even with just down throw fair, down throw fair dash attack, right? Or whatever. Now I'm fucked. But the thing is, if I'm confident enough that I can hold advantage long enough, FD is really strong for Marth, because it lets him kind of just get away with anything. Pretty sure. Down smash will hit ledge hangs, yeah, but F smash won't. And F smash is more important because F smash actually hits most of the cast, whereas down smash hits around a fourth to a half. And obviously F smash kills earlier. And then last we have Kalos. I think Kalos is probably his worst stage, so I'm gonna actually have it there. So here's the thing about Kalos. It's FD. Kalos is FD, but with less positives for Marth. The platforms suck for him because it lets jump from ledge be a stronger option, and lets recoveries be able to be mixed up more, right? So you have to worry about going high for mix-ups more. The ceilings are higher, which is it somewhat saves him from some certain matchups like Mario a little bit more, because most of Mario's kill moves are on the top. The thing is that the side platforms, or the side blast zones, are huge for the stage. Huge for the stage, right? The blast zones themselves aren't massive, but like the stage to blast zone range is like the opposite of town and city. It's insane. So that means a lot of your grounded tippers are not going to matter as much on Kalos. And it still has that polarizing neutral, where Marth presses one bad button, and then he's just kind of fucked. But your opponent has more escape options because of the side platforms. They really just kind of fuck him over, and they don't give him anything. Marth can't really play on Kalos all that different compared to FD. The FD gives him so much more because opponents actually get to do more on Kalos than FD. So normally, the thing is that, generally speaking, if characters are good on FD, that's almost always going to be either next to their best stage or their best stage, right? So then you can just ban FD and Kalos, and then you're probably fine. And then you're pretty much fine on any other stage against them, right? That'll be pretty much neutral. Or if they ban these two because it's the worst, then you just go and pick the next worst thing they have, or if something's really good. So like if they leave Lylat open, go to Lylat. Unless it's Pika, then don't. Like, that's basically how I would think of Marth's list of. Probably don't go here very often. Here, go if you're... I'd say here, you're probably fine to go most of the time, except in specific matchups where you know it's really good. Here is, if they don't ban these and they're better for you than them, go here. And up here, most of the time, it's going to be better for you than them. Here, it's like, there's a decent chance it's better for you than them. Here, it's like, it's either really good for you or it's really bad for you, and here is kind of just, it's Kalos. Any questions?